Hello, welcome and namaste to Career Journey Podcast. Welcome, Nandan, and thank you so much for accepting my request to be a guest on this podcast. Nandan and I know each other for probably a year almost. Nandan works in Bangalore. He's been working for a company called O9 for about 5 years. And on the side, he shares all the learning, his own learning on TopMed as well as through blog post. And I attended his session on GitHub. It was an amazing session. So, with that, again, thank you so much, Nandan. And I wanted to hand over mic to you to ask you what you do and what is your typical day and a week look like.
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's a privilege to speak to you, and I think we are speaking one to one for the first time. So I always wanted to speak to you one to one, and finally we are having it. So that's great. And speaking about my day to day life, right? So usually I'm a person who wakes up early, not too early, but let's say 7 8 a.m. And once I'm up, it's mostly I try to do some sort of workout, either the gym or maybe walk. I try to run, but not so successful at that. But yeah, I'm trying. And once I'm done with that, like it's a 9 9:30 or something, and that's when I start my work for office basically. And mostly on a day-to-day basis, I have few calls. I have some tasks related to my development work, which I have to finish. And with you grow, it gets tough to get that time for the actual development work. It's more on meetings. But yeah, I try to spend 3 to 4 hours on that. And if I'm successful in spending that much time, I call it a very productive day, and I try to end my day around 5 to 6 with everything, all the meetings and everything. And I try to put a break there because otherwise, in the current work from home setup, it can just keep on going. You
Right.
don't know. So you have to put a sort of a pause on that. And then once I'm done with that, I try to spend some time with my family, my wife, and usually like my parents don't live with me, but I try to speak with them over call or something. And then once that is done, I take out some time later in the evening around 8 to 10 if I have to do some personal project, I have to write something, or even just interact, just to speak to the community. And that's when I think me and you met on one of the Twitter spaces,
Yeah.
right? So I try to go to Twitter, connect with fellow developers, and yeah, that's like my whole day looks like. So more or less.
Nice. Very structured. Very
Yeah.
structured. And you find time to write during either evening time or I'm guessing some weekends.
Just so evening time, that's when the motivation comes, and then I put a structure. I just put the like title. Okay, this I may pick this topic to write on, and then the actual work is usually not around that time. It's late night. So it's
Mhm.
around like 11, I'm very much free. And at that time, like, I try to spend couple of hours. And usually what I do, finish my work, I get reviews from my wife and my wife's brother, actually. These guys, they're like my personal Grammarly. I just get it checked from them. Okay. I have Grammarly, but then I just get it reviewed with them as well. Because AI and there's a real person reviewing your work, and a good part they're non-tech background, so I always try to review from them because I want to understand how a non-technical person perceives my writing. What I write, am I
Mhm.
able to convey it to even a non-technical person? If I'm able to do that, I think I'm doing a good job. And once I do that, I think that's when I either make it live right there, or I just put it for schedule for it for morning or something. And yeah, one thing I would like to tell, because why writing? But what happened is, I think I started writing a couple of years back. And why? Because I saw people creating content, and the
Mhm.
content
Yeah.
creation is now like a big thing, right? It was back, I think it was good, big, even a couple of years back. But now it's like, everyone wants to create content. I chose my medium to be written because what happens is when a fellow dev, even for me, if I want to find something, to, let's say, something that helps me get my work done, I find it better to go through a document or a written document. I just search and see, okay, I think this part helps me. I read through it and I implement it. If there is very less time, I go to a YouTube video or something. And if I even if I have to go to a YouTube video, it has to be very specific. But most of the YouTube videos you are like there is series and everything. So it's a good thing to start learning something. But then if you just want something quick, written is the medium to go. In my understanding, everyone can have their own approach, their own thinking. But that's what I think. So that's why. And again, one more thing that played in whole story was like I was camera shy. I still am, but okay, it's going up a little bit. But yeah, I think most of us are going through this, and some have very well handled it, and they are like doing absolutely good at it. But yeah, I think a lot of us are still learning, and it's a journey. Most of us will keep on learning.
I will say one thing about this camera and YouTube.
Yeah.
I feel I don't know if I should start Hindi because I'm very comfortable in Hindi. And I don't know if this will completely change how I present and do everything. But again, I'm living in Florida and most of the audience is all around the place. But I don't know if that's a good decision or not. But I keep thinking about it and I cannot get over it.
Yeah. You know what I think? Language is one thing, but for starters like us, I consider you as someone who has just started. Although we are doing it
But
for some time
YouTube
now,
and
but yeah,
writing is all
yeah.
we are.
But if you look at this structure, what we are doing right now, podcast, you are interacting with someone, so a lot of it comes out naturally. So we are
Yeah,
speaking, we are
exactly.
discussing. It's fluid. It's fluid. It happens.
Yeah.
But when you are recording a YouTube video, even bi-directional conversation, then it's slightly tricky.
Yeah.
Even webinars are tricky because you most of the time you are the person speaking, and rest of it then other people are just listening. So you really don't know what's happening. Okay, whether the other people are getting it, whether they are not getting it. There's very less way to get a feedback. We are always checking. Okay, am I able to deliver what I'm supposed to or not? So I think that's a issue there. I think maybe not the language, but I think if you do what you're doing, if you maybe you change the format to something like informative. You pick a topic, discuss it with one of your fellow developers, and see it can work out.
Yeah, I will try that.
Yeah.
But these podcasts have been working out really good, and in fact, they have given me a lot of confidence in terms of presentation.
Yes.
I presented to a group of about 200 people last week, and I got feedback that the presentation was amazing, the content was amazing, and my delivery was great, and people was actually appreciative the information that I have shared. And I would not have done this every time I go for presentation before. I get nervousness and it's like my blood pressure is rising. There are so many things was happening inside, but I get to practice in these videos and then I got to practice in these spaces just in discussion with everyone. So slowly it has actually helped.
Yes.
YouTube is actually was able to help me.
Yes, I think it definitely helps. And I think one more thing, what I believe in, like, it's like the anxiety is before you get in. Once you are there, you are in the space, you just start doing better. Just it just fluid, and then you're like, okay, now I'm in the space. I'm supposed to do it. I'm supposed to deliver this message to the audience, and you are into it. But I think yeah, it's the process. I think it's the you get all these chills and everything, but then once you're in the space, you're just ready to rock. So I think it's a good thing.
So you shared why you write and where the drive is coming from. And I wanted to ask you actually. So thank you for answering that. Anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do plan to move away from the writing. I'm not away as in move forward from writing. So, I want to add, but that's why I try to do one webinar, and I plan to do more of it because I want to try different mediums because that was starting of my content creation journey. Now I want to go next. I want to do some webinars, some one-to-one interactions if I have to.
Okay. Now, in terms of your writing, I saw your blog before this podcast, and you have many articles, and some of them are really detailed. It's well structured. So, how do you come up with the topic ideas, and how do you outline or go from start to finish?
The way I do it is first of the way I write is I start learning something and
Hmm.
I try to put my learning into writing. Some of the things when I started writing about Git, because constantly I got this feedback from my friends, fellow developers, colleagues that you have a very good knowledge of Git. Why don't you write about it?
Hmm.
And when I started, okay, let me give it a try. And I wrote around a series of blogs, so like around 5, 6 blogs around Git, and that gave me the initial confidence. And then everything I started to learn around like something system design a little bit, just when I started writing about that. So that's where the idea comes from, the topics comes from there. And that's why it's so structured, because
Hmm.
I know, okay, I'll start from here, I'll go till this point, right? So you have a journey, you have a story to tell. Okay, and this is the first topic and this is the next topic, and so on, and it can go on till I've covered everything around that topic. So that's where the
Hmm.
structure comes from. And yeah, research is something that I have to do. And I think it's as part
Right.
of learning, you have to do your research, right? First, the way I do it, I try to create a framework of how I pick a blog on system design, right? Now I start from the basics of system design, and then I try to put what are the basics, what and all is there, right? So I try to put the initial subtopics, and then I write the whole story around it. I pick one topic, I research about it, and then I put them in raw words, and then try to make it sound very intuitive and very receptive to other people, so everyone can understand. So that's my process of writing in
And
that.
how long it take you to write one post?
It can
Approximate.
take, yeah, if I sit it through a blog of let's say 500, 600 word takes around 1 hour or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you using ChatGPT in some way?
Yes, definitely. I use ChatGPT sometime when I want to set the tone. I wrote something, but it could be very crude, right? And I want to set the tone of that particular paragraph. And so that's when I try give it to please set the tone for me. So yeah, I do that because you have to
Yeah.
understand kind of audience you are trying to target, right? And then I read it. I read it, and then I think, okay, whether am I like whatever ChatGPT has written for me, whether I am able to understand it. If
Yeah.
I am able to understand it, and okay, if it makes sense to me, it will probably make sense to other people as well. And then I do
I
peer review.
I have a couple of prompts and also a couple of
Yeah,
plugins that I use.
yeah,
But my process is like this. I would write something, Ocean or wherever. I just is I'm thinking.
yes,
Then
yes,
I
yes,
copy that into one of those prompts, and
yeah.
I ask them to match to my voice and everything. Sometimes the first response is so polished, and I
Hmm.
said, "No, this is not me talking." So I would have
Yeah,
another conversation. No,
yeah,
simplify the language. You do
yes,
not use these glorified word, and use the
yes,
word
yes,
that I use because we've been talking for last 50 days, and I would just have
yes.
that kind of conversation, and it will bring it to more my liking. So that's one way. And then
Yes.
second, for 30, I have many template that I use. So I
Hmm.
would
Hmm.
write something, and I ask ChatGPT to apply one of the template. So
Okay,
those are the
okay,
two
yeah.
different ways that I use my ChatGPT.
No, yeah, I think that's nice. That's nice. Even I will probably use it. I'll reach out to you for the template and
Yeah, for
how you
sure.
use it, how
For
you
sure.
do it, and I'll give it a try. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
but
Last question on the writing. We've been talking about writing because obviously that's one of my
yeah,
favorite topic. When I was writing, just like what you said, anything that I'm learning, I was also
yeah,
writing a lot about the problem that I face. So if I'm working on VMware
yeah,
to deploy something, an image, it was one of the most popular topic. So that's why I
hmm,
use that. And
yeah,
I'm building a development environment in VMware, and
hmm,
I face the problem that after a month, I'm trying to restart that VMware and it image is not working. So I
yeah,
would start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
error that I got, the
Yeah.
problem that I had. And then when I find a solution, I would add the solution that I found and
Yeah.
what worked for me. And I would just
Yeah.
post that, as I will make it as a blog post and post it. Those
Yeah.
articles were actually more popular than the
Yes.
teaching article that I had. So that was one of my biggest
Definitely.
learning, to just talk
Yes.
about the problem I faced and how I
Yeah.
solved it. What
Definitely. I think that's actually a good way to do it. And with me, I try to be a little secretive because I do a lot of things around my work, right?
Mhm.
And now, what issues I face at work, I would not want to divulge too much
Yeah,
information.
right.
That's why I'm a bit cautious around these things, and I haven't been writing about it. But yeah, and I am now doing some side projects. And
Mm.
even I had a conversation with my manager recently, and I told him like, okay, I write, and you have
Yeah,
seen read my post and everything, but I do not write about my work because I am not supposed to, or maybe
right.
not yet. So I just want to confirm with you whether I can do that or not. Right? He said, yeah,
Mhm.
it's fine. You can write about it, not directly, but you will write about technology and what issues that can,
Right.
that you can face around it. So even I plan to do that, and even this is something that I did this weekend, and not it was not work related. I did a
Mhm.
POC. I actually created a browser extension with Angular. People
Okay.
create browser extensions all the time, and then mostly it's like JavaScript, TypeScript, and you write your extension around it, right? So I used Angular for the UX part of it, and then
Mm.
I created an extension. And in this journey in the past 3 days, 4 days, I learned Angular. I learned how to build extension, and I also learned how to build an extension with Angular. Now,
Right.
yeah, now I plan to write about it, and hopefully I'll do it maybe next week or sometime. Or if I some time available with me, I'll do that. Yeah.
So let's bring the topic back to the development career. We'll
Yeah.
start with a very quick sentence about how all the writing has helped you in your primary job.
Okay. I think the how writing helped me in primary job, I would say it has built our authority. When I like people will reach out to me with more confidence now if they ever face anything related to Git. Okay, they're like, I think Nandan is the person I should reach out to because he'll know what we have to do. If they have a merge conflict, they have to do some sort of cherry pick. They'll reach out to me. So all this writing has really helped me in building authority in the workspace. And if you get to listen, obviously my not just my peers but my seniors, they have read my blog and they have been praising me. They like it, and they're very open about it. They just say it
Mhm.
out loud, and then I read your content and it was really good, and that definitely boosts up my confidence. I feel more confident going to work. Feel more appreciated. Obviously at work, from when I work, I feel appreciated every day, but these things add cherry on top of the cake. So yeah.
Wow. Thank you. This is good. We had an entire session on just writing, the
Yes,
thought
yes,
process behind it, the
yes,
execution of writing, idea
yes,
to post, and then we had the outcome that you have received. So
yes,
this
yes.
is great. This, what I will do, I will have a separate section and separate video
Mhm.
just for this writing session, and then that
Yes.
could be useful for anyone. But you said one thing which actually highlighted for me, or highlight of this discussion, that people are reaching out to you for a very specific thing, which is Git and merge conflict, or anything that if they got stuck in Git for whatever reason, right? So that's
Yes, yes,
amazing. What I learned from Ship 30 for 30 is you can pick one of the thing that you do good, and you can build
yes,
everything around it, and then you can
yes,
add more, but you can start with that one thing and
yes.
do everything around it. So I will give you an idea that you
Mhm.
probably have wrote all the technical items, but then there is a strategical item such
Yes.
as for which type of project, what type of branching strategy we should use, and
Yes.
then
Yes.
thinking about what type of folder structure that we should use in GitHub, right? There are
Yes.
many
Yes.
topic which is not exactly Git, but it is
Yes.
related. And then
Yes.
you're working on the technical level, which is like all these syntax, all these
Yes.
problems. And then
Yes.
you start working on the strategic level,
Yes.
is before you do all these activity, how do
Yes.
you think about utilizing the Git? And many, the very first thing that comes to people mind is how, what type of account to create, what kind of tool to use, what kind of branching strategy to use, what kind of merge and pull requests, a PR strategy, whether it will be one review or two review. You could even
Yes.
create a template for
Yes. Yes.
use this to build your merge strategy, in which you
Definitely.
have this some kind of policy template
Yeah.
of how many layers that you have to go through for merging. For example, for this Dallas software group,
Yeah.
we discussed that, and now we have a strategy that we will have dev, test, and main branch, and developer to merge. There will be two approval needed.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
implemented that. So I just wanted to provide you that feedback.
No, no, definitely, definitely. I think it's very crucial. It's not like one template fits all, right? Every project has its own strategy. Every organization has their own strategy to do that. But all this strategy come from a thought process,
Right.
right? Where I work, we push everything to master, and then everything else has a branch. Everything else is a branch
Okay.
because that suits us.
Maybe just is 5 template, and then
Yeah.
with each template you will define wh- what are the situation where this template may be a good fit, something like that.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah, makes sense. I'll try that. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Let's keep going. We'll come back to the development career. You've been working here almost 5 years. I want
Yes.
to ask, when you started working in this company and
Mhm.
5 year later now,
Yes.
what is the biggest change that you see in yourself?
I think when I joined here, I had 2.5 years of experience then, but I was
Hmm.
still a junior developer in my mindset. My approach was very brute force. I just wanted to get into the development. Okay, I have a task, I'll build it. Everything was so brute force. I just want to get in, build it, and then you don't know what will happen next. So I think the biggest change that happened now, I that brute force approach had changed. Now whenever I get a task, I sit back, I analyze it. I see what if I build. I'm going to build this. What are
Hmm.
the parts of the software they are going to affect? What I need to do, or what I need to learn to build this, and how much time it will take. Because now I'm like since I've grown up in my career, 5 years, total of 7 8 years now, and now I have to make sure that I estimate it correctly and I tell this upfront. Before I had my architect or someone who would decide, okay, Nandan is a junior developer. He'll probably take 5 days to do this part of the task, and maybe 30 days or like one full sprint to do this particular task. And that also I would maybe sometime spill over. You never know, right? But no, I had to start being very precise about that timeline. And it would be fine if I will give like one extra day to everything, but I would
Hmm.
know if I say 30 days, I deliver it in 30 days. Because and I plan my work accordingly. So I give myself some buffer, I give the whole process some buffer. So once I'm done, I have enough time to test, I have enough time to write test cases. I have even the QA person who is testing it would also have some time for it, you know. So I have to now I've started looking at the bigger picture. I have to started things more holistically than I was doing it 2.5 years back. And obviously, I know now more. I have learned some more technology. I was doing front end majorly when I started. Now I do
Hmm.
full stack. Now I take double the work than I used to do 5 years back. But yeah, then it comes with time. It comes with experience. And like you were saying some time back, like start with one thing and just keep
Yeah.
expanding your horizon.
And you spoke a lot about estimation and thinking end to end. And that's
Yeah.
so crucial. That's so crucial. I
Yes.
have worked with many developer. Some of them, even though they are now senior, if I ask them or if we talk about some work, their first answer would be 4 hours or 2 days to finish something. And then you have to ask many follow up questions to get
Hmm.
to the actual figure, which could be not 4 hours, but actually a week, because then you
Yeah.
include QA time, testing time. In fact, the information that they do not have today to start the
Yes.
coding, right? You ask them, what do you need to start coding? And then there will be two or three different things. So they are
Hmm.
not even ready, right? They are not at where they can start coding. It might take 2 days just to gather that information, the
Yeah.
environment. So it's so
Yes.
crucial that you develop that end-to-end perspective.
You are right. And I think even I used to do it. Okay, I'll do it. Edam, ho jayega. That kind of thing. And then you once you get into it and oh, okay, I should have asked more time. So yeah,
Now, believe it or not, I'm a senior manager now,
yes,
and I know what to say to
yes,
get estimation. Like I can
yes,
manipulate a developer just by
yes,
asking two or three different questions. So on the other side, developers are so eager to deliver, right? That's their
yes,
passion. Most of the developers are like that.
yes, yes, definitely,
And
definitely.
as a manager, we do use that for our
Yeah,
benefit, depending upon.
yes, definitely. I think I would say one thing, and it's coming from a developer's perspective and not a manager's perspective. A good developer should be able to manipulate his manager. Or
Yes.
if not manipulate, just put his foot down and say, oh, okay, you may think it takes 5 days, but I'm telling you, it will take 10 days. I can give you a reason for that.
Yeah, negotiation should happen and healthy
Yes,
negotiation. I
yes,
want to
yes,
ask you if you have to pick one, two, or three things that
yeah.
has helped you in growing your career in last 5 years, what will be?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's you have to make a habit that you should never say no to learning. Always be ready to learn. Anything that comes your way, okay, whether you can do it, not do it, whether it's a part of your job profile, that's secondary. At a workspace, if you are getting paid and you are asked to do something, first see if you can get some learning out of it. Go ahead, learn, and unless you are sure, don't commit an estimate. You say, okay, I'll need a couple of days. Let me do some initial research. This is something that I have not done before, but I'm open to exploring it. So do that and then take it to a couple of days. And then even if you feel okay, I may not be able to tell the estimate. I may be moving away from the topic, but I just want to put it as an add on. So ask someone, try to get some sort of estimate. And then you can always, since you are doing it for the first time, you may spill over, and that's totally all right. People know it, and when the moment you said, "Okay, I don't know it yet, but I'll figure it out," they know in their head that okay, this guy will do it. It may take 1 week extra, 2 week extra for that matter, and they are totally okay
Mhm.
with it. So, yeah, I think so. That's one thing. Never stop learning. And second is, I think you have to ask. I think three things: right questions, you have to ask for help when required, and you have to ask. I think since you have done so much work, always ask what is right for you or what is your worth. It's part of the whole process. All technical and everything is nice, but you have to know when to put your foot down and say, okay. And I think the while work is a motivation, I have to look at my growth as well. I can not
Mhm.
keep on working, but at the same time, I need to know, okay, I'm being rewarded for that. So if you have to ask for reward, always do that. I think that's also one of the very crucial things, and most of the developers are very shy about it. They think, okay,
Mhm.
how can I ask? My manager or the management should be able to see my work. No, that's not the always, or that's not the case.
Yes.
That's not always the case. It is sometimes, but sometimes you have to you have to showcase what you have done, and at the same time you have to ask, okay, I think it's been 2 years. I'm ready, I'm ready for a promotion. This is what I think. I am ready. maybe you evaluate me if you have to, but I think put me forward for this. If you don't
Right.
ask, you probably not get it.
100%. And the podcast that I publish this Thursday is Brett. And he said, you should have intentional conversation with your manager about your promotion. So you go to your
Yes.
manager and say that, just like how you said, I'm ready or I will be ready.
Yeah.
And he said, you ask them, what do I need to do to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
there? If I'm not there
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
what do I need to do? And create a plan with them, with your
Yes.
manager.
Yes.
And then
Dem-
you say, so Brett said that's one of the things that he suggests. And then
yeah.
you talk about showing off your work, right? And
Yes.
you should not wait for your annual review to show off your
Mm-hmm.
work. You should do one of one. One of one is so crucial. I don't know
Yeah.
how many people not utilize it
Yeah.
to its extent. And I have also done that. I've not used it. I don't know what to do in the one on one. One on one is your time where you can have any kind of conversation, and you should always encourage your manager and yourself to have those conversations at least bi-weekly.
Yes.
So
Yes. Definitely.
having a screenshot of anybody who have said something good about you, your customer, your peers, your manager, just keep a log. And I do
Yeah.
that. I still do that in my
Yes.
OneNote. If there is anything that is good, either for me or my team member, I keep a log.
Yeah.
And
Yes. Yes.
that's really important activity.
Yeah, definitely. I think you should always keep track of of the work you have done. And now with their softwares, if not, then you just put it on in a mail. Ask someone is giving a good feedback about you, maybe verbally. Ask them, can you put it in an email? Can you put it in
Yeah.
on the portal? And I think that should be fine. And that all that will help you grow basically. And yeah, what you said was right from like the previous conversation, right? I think it was Brad with Brad. Right? Yeah, I think what he said is right because promotion is not always about I am ready and I need a promotion. It's also about okay, 6 months down the line, help me build the skill set so I can get promoted. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
yeah, that's a very good approach, and I think that's a proactive approach.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. What I said was slightly reactive, but more often than not, it so goes to the reactive side because we are always so shy about it. But yeah, if you are productive, I think that's a good thing.
Now, one thing that has worked for me, and I think you are that kind of person, so I'm bringing it here. Whenever I learn something, whenever I finish a project and play a crucial role,
Mhm.
or I build something that was really good, I always share everything that I have done with my peers and whoever want to learn. And
Yes, yes.
there's always a small fear
Yeah,
that, oh, if I teach something and if I let other people do the same thing, then there will not be a uniqueness, or there will not be a something that I own. And I've worked with people who had that kind of mentality to keep it to themselves, so they are known for that thing. And I have not done it. I have always shared it. So there was initial clinch. Oh, what happened? There's no safety for me now. But what always happened that other people start doing that work, and I was given a work step up to that work. Like
yeah,
now I'm doing something, a new research, a new work, that a new learning for me, and I'm not stuck with what I have already done.
definitely.
So that has helped me keep moving to the next thing because I shared everything. There was no dependency on me because I'm the only person who knows how to do it,
Mhm.
because other people now can do, and that allow me to keep moving to the next step.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
That's really good.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I think that's right. Even I have met with people who just want to keep all this information to themselves and don't share it. But
Yeah.
I think that's not a very inclusive approach, if I have to put it that way. I think they should be open to telling people, teaching people, sharing your knowledge. And I think that is the best growth strategy. Otherwise, you'll be stuck where you currently are, and you'll be probably doing the same thing that you've been doing all these years, and you'll not grow.
So we talk about your day, your week, then we
Mhm.
talk about your writing, then we was talking about in last 5 years what worked for you. I want to ask now where Nandan is going a year from now, or 3 years from now, 5 years from now. How do you, maybe we start with where Nandan is going and how do you set these big goals?
Okay, no. So when Nandan is going, I think Nandan wants to probably want to be more open source oriented, more public. I want to be more out there in public, build in maybe you can say build in public or build with public, more like build with public
Mhm.
than build in public. Because my journey so far has been very close. I have a lot of
Right.
learning, but it's all dedicated to one particular organization and a lot around that. Now maybe I'll move a little further and I'll take out some time and try to contribute to all these open source projects and everything.
Okay.
That's one thing. Second, I think I'm looking forward to more challenging kind of work in the sense I want to start to building projects from bottom up, basically start projects from scratch and build those scalable solutions that, they go ahead and towards the end or in the future become the mammoth softwares that we see that we use in our day-to-day life. And it could be just one software as a whole, or it could be a set of small softwares that to build an ecosystem that kind of be the next big thing. So, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still adopt. So you talk about your the type of work that you will do. What about the outcome? What kind of outcome that you're expecting 5 years from
So,
now? If you keep doing all
mhm,
everything that you're doing right now,
mhm.
where would you go? Where would you reach?
I think the where I would reach the answer to that question would be there's no specific answer to it. But yeah, I think it would be more around architecting thing
Okay.
than
Mhm.
just building something and shipping it and just to be done with it. More around my future self would look around. Okay, probably less hands-on coding and more on the
Mhm.
architecture side, right? So that's what I think as of now. And go a bit beyond and not just architecture, but also creating that one good product, right? One of those products that actually add some value, that kind of thing. I think that's probably that's where I'm going forward, and let's see where it goes.
I
Hopefully,
think what I'm
yeah,
hearing is that
yeah.
you want to be involved with a product that you start from scratch in the next 5 year,
Yes,
and you
yes,
have your name, your code associated with it, your
definitely,
strategy and thought.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm hearing.
yeah, yes, yes. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think so. Yeah, yeah. Let's see.
Tell you
It's
this.
because the question that you asked, there's always a it's very generic answer to it. Like I want to be architect, I want to be a
Mhm.
director, I want to be this that. You don't know. You probably will never know what you are going to be in future. But when I put it this way, I know okay. I have vision to create something or be a part of something that gets to become so big, or at least it has some impact. So that is what I have in back of my mind when I say these things. Let's see where it goes.
So here, I will tell you there are two approach to big goals. Okay,
Yeah.
there's top down approach and then there is bottom up approach. Bottom up approach is which is what you're using.
Mhm.
You start driving from Bangalore
Yeah.
toward Mumbai, Delhi,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Now, as that every hour or every day you will be driving X amount of time, X
Yeah.
amount of speed and all that, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then every milestone, whether it's every state, every city, you will evaluate where the direction, you still have the direction, right? It's
Yes. Yes.
north that you're going. You're not going south. You know that, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you know that you're going by road. You're not
Mhm.
going by ship
Yeah.
or by flight, right? So that much clarity. And then
Yes.
every few hours, few days, few years, you will be checking, like based on the new information that I have received, I actually go to Delhi or Bombay or Pune, right? and
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
keep
probably.
driving, and then you keep pivoting. Even in the Delhi, should I go to Gurgaon or Noida or
Yeah.
somewhere else, right? Bottom up approach where you
Yes.
have a direction, you don't know exactly where you want to reach, you will
Mm-hmm.
reach, but you have a direction. And then that's very agile approach. You're resetting your target every few, I mean, I do that every quarter,
Yes. Yeah.
but you have a long term direction, which is what important. And then the second approach, there are some people who know exactly where they want to go and
Yes.
reach. And that's not bad either, right? They
Yes.
have the
Yes. Definitely.
clarity.
Yeah.
So for them, they know that they want to go to Gurgaon, this,
Yeah.
and in Gurgaon, this particular place, and they can do a work breakdown and set their milestone, their speed, and
Yeah.
their stoppage and everything. So that approach
Definitely.
is also good,
Yes.
but it's depend for which item, which goal. It depends on several factor which approach you want to take, and most of the time it depends on the clarity
Yeah.
um, and all the signal that you want to receive before you commit to a exact destination, because you may not enjoy it.
Makes a lot of sense. I think even have a better clarity now. And thanks for that.
You're most welcome. We are toward about an hour mark. There's so much that we can talk about, but I wanted to take it to the finish line. So I
Yes.
will ask my last three questions.
Mhm.
One, is there any question that I have not asked but you want to answer?
You have asked all the right questions. Yeah, but there is something I would like to add is now the whole idea about creating content and
Mhm.
writing. I think from where it started, I would like to add that part to this conversation. Is I wanted to build my internet presence. I think the whole idea about creating content, writing was to build my internet presence, or obviously, and that did eventually give me some positivity, made me more. I mean, people reach out to me as well through that.
Right.
And why? Because you probably know, a couple of years back, I think around this time, there was an incident that happened. My bag got exchanged from with a co-passenger of mine on a very famous Indian airline, and I tweeted about that incident. I was able to get my bag back by doing something. I was able to get my co-passenger's details, and I was able to reach out to him, and I was able to get my bag back. And I tweeted about the whole story. It's out there on the internet, and then the tweet got viral, and I was covered by a lot of newspapers. And then in this incident, people were trying to reach out to me. It was slightly, hard for them to reach out to me in general. They would try to search me, and I had very less internet presence at that time. So I started building that. So after that incident, actually, I started writing seriously. I had my website up. I had my blog up. I created this. Right now I have my website. My
Mhm.
website has a section that I write everything in Markdown, and then I have a separate blog tech related. And then I have a store. It doesn't sell anything, but it's there. It's there. So all these things. I think that was the, you can say, the ticking point where I thought, okay, I think this is the time I should build, because I have been procrastinating about building a
Mhm.
being a front end developer. I was procrastinating about it like for 5 years then. 2 years back, so with almost 5 years, I've been thinking, okay, I'll create my portfolio. And like I'll do it on React, I'll do it on Angular, I'll do it on this and that. And then I was
Yeah.
not able to do it at all. And when I did it on vanilla HTML, I have a static landing page, and then I have this. I think it's Cayman theme. I think it's so built on GitHub pages. I'm forgetting the term basically. So I have this whole sub pages built on it,
Uh-huh.
and then a blog on has not and everything. So I did that. Yeah. So I think that's one thing, and I think that's also for my all the fellow developers who are trying to build a career for themselves. I think it's about what tech stack you're going to use. Your portfolio website doesn't have to be in a tech stack that you expertise in.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can just be a basic static HTML page. Just write the content and let it be there on the internet. Just put the right titles, let people search you, and you should, even I'm trying to get on top of by Google search, but yeah,
Yeah,
at
I'm
least
saying that use WordPress, right? Use
yeah,
WordPress,
yeah,
anything, the
yes,
portfolio. And then in that portfolio, add
yeah,
solid project. You can build
yes,
the project independently, and
yes,
your
yes,
portfolio site does not have to be that solid project, right? That's a
yes,
just
yes, yes,
a, a, um, a method for demonstrating it. You don't build
yeah,
your LinkedIn, right? You don't
yes,
build LinkedIn from scratch. The system is already there,
yes,
and you
yes,
add your information, right?
yes, yes,
Similarly, you can build portfolio site in HTML or WordPress or any tool, as
mhm,
long as you're putting the information and you're
yes,
writing the wording that
yes,
create interest and impact. And then in the
yes,
project section, you emphasize on all the solid project that you have built.
yes, yes,
Invest your energy in building a solid portfolio project, then building the portfolio website.
definitely. That's the right approach, I think. Yeah,
So
that's all I want to
using
say.
that actually helped you realizing
Yeah,
what a internet presence can do for you, and then you
yes,
started building one for yourself.
yes, definitely. Yeah.
And you were saying something about you write in a markdown, and then there is a process that convert that into a blog. What is that?
I'll tell you actually because I was forgetting this thing. So it's a GitHub Jekyll
Oh,
theme.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard about
So
it.
yes, yes. And best thing about it, I only pay for my domain.
Okay.
No hosting, nothing. I only pay for my domain.
And then GitHub does everything else.
I mean, for students, it's you have your like subdomain of GitHub.io, and then when you sometime in
Mhm.
future when you are like you can afford a domain, go ahead and buy it and map it.
Do you use something like Obsidian to edit these Markdown files?
No, I go to GitHub and then I just write it there. I,
Nice. So
yeah,
whoever is listening, the steps are Nandan has a folder on his machine where he write Markdown file. He edit using Visual Studio. I have heard from another friend of mine who use Obsidian to edit this folder, and then he used GitHub Jenkins that runs that process. I don't know if it is a batch file or a
so
manual process, but
uh,
he
I,
does that, which sync his local file with GitHub IO, GitHub pages, and then that's where all the pages will go.
Yes, slight correction there. So it's Jekyll. GitHub has this template already. If you, I think it's there. It's publicly available and it's easy to set up. And you make basically you write a build process and it's already template is already available. You just have to do some basic tweaks
Got it.
and you write your markdown with everything, all the content. You git commit, git push, build job will run in the background, and your website is
Got
live. Like your
got
new page is live. So yeah, it takes
got
care
it.
of routing and everything. So it's cool. And then every other project that you have hosted on GitHub, right? Using
Uh-huh.
GitHub pages or something, be it React, be it Angular, be it anything. It especially for maybe slightly for front end developers, but maybe you if you want to showcase it, uh, or if you have like written API, probably look at using Swagger or something, and just
Hmm.
host that Swagger in your repository, and then you
Got
just
it.
showcase that. So now you can
Yeah.
probably do that, and it will be like under your sub domain, under your path, you can just put everything else. So it builds a good ecosystem under your main domain, and then everything is under that path. So user doesn't have to go out, and you can just build your routing smartly to user can come back to your home page and then go back to the next page again. So
Got it. So, Nandan, is there any question for me?
yes, yes. I wanted to just briefly know your journey on how you from India went to US and then you have built a life there,
Sure.
and you're doing so much for the community. How you were able to do it?
Sure.
No.
My journey started with a marketing job because I could not get any job after my engineering. And
Okay.
in that 2 year, I found that software development is one of the things where I can get an easy entry. So I did a 6 month course,
Mhm.
computer. It called CDEC.
Okay.
So I did that. In the last 2 months of that course, I spent every spare hour that I had, and I was in the center for 12 to 16 hours. I just go home for sleeping, and I
Wow.
would sleep, I take bath and come back. I will
Wow.
eat, do everything else in this center and building this project with a group of three people that we were.
Mhm.
Then I got 3 hours after that. I worked for a company for a year. I switched it to the second company, and then I switched to Patni Computer, which was the fifth largest company in India at that point.
Yes, yes.
After working for them about 1.5 years, they brought me to Kentucky
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
a very kind of maintenance job. And they let the employer, I was employee of the Patni Computer, but the client
Yes.
was Fidelity, and then
So you
once.
were like more like a consultant, and
Yeah.
then yeah, then you moved full time, something like that.
No, I was still part of this Patni Computer,
Okay, okay,
and they did not like my work, so that let me go, and then I moved to
okay,
Dallas
okay,
after that.
okay.
It was a maintenance job, and before I
Mm.
came US, I was leading a entire project, so it was a
Wow.
huge difference between what they assigned me.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
then I worked in Dallas for a Microsoft ACS and NEC project, then moved
Mhm.
to Orlando,
Mhm.
and it I was here for almost 1.5 years and already moved 3 times.
Mhm.
So then I decided to switch to a local company, and I was on H1, and it's really hard to get a job on H1.
Mhm. Yes.
But fortunately, I found a job with Satyam in Seattle, and
Uh-huh.
Advent Health, which is local in Orlando. And I decided to stay with the local company, which was a
Yeah.
good decision because Satyam went bankrupt after some time.
Yes.
I've been in this company for a very long time now, and my job continuously changing from
Yeah.
a senior developer to team leader. Then I became a development manager. Then I became a senior manager, and I've been handling the agile transformation, overall planning,
Hmm.
testing, releases, and communication for last 5 years.
Wow. Wow. That's nice. That's
That's
nice.
my journey.
Yeah, it's very. I think it's motivating for everyone else. I think your story is like inspiring. Yeah, I think the inspiring is the right word. So thanks for sharing that.
You're most welcome.
Yeah.
So let's go to the last one. I
Mhm.
want to ask you for what is your message to the audience? And my most audience are either people who are trying to get into tech, trying to begin their career, or the people who are already there and have 2 to 5 years of experience and trying to grow themselves. So, what would be your message to them?
I think my message to everyone out there who is trying to build something for themselves, I think I would say it's your journey, and everyone's journey is different. While it's nice and good to take inspiration, and you should take inspiration from people who have done in your craft, in the same craft or their own craft, but don't try to live their life. They had a different journey. They went through different things. You probably won't go through the same. Don't worry about that. You set your own goals, and you keep working towards them. You'll have your challenges. Don't get bogged down by that. Keep working, keep learning, and I think keep growing. Yeah, yeah. That's what I want to say to everyone out there.
That's an amazing message, very inspiring. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Nandan, for coming to this podcast. It was a great discussion. As I said before, we talk
Yes.
about several areas, especially we spend a lot of time on writing and your writing journey and the benefit that
Yes.
you get. That's topic obviously very close to my heart. This could be a masterclass for anybody who want to start their writing journey. So thank you so much, Nandan.